Just for clarity, when you hear people, whether they've been in politics or not, saying that Nigel Farage is controlled opposition, I disagree. And here's my thoughts on it. Why would they need him? Just think about it. You've got a man in number 10 who's clearly a corporatist communist, where corporations come first and small businesses don't matter. You've got a king that follows a WEF agenda. So the sooner that people in this country realise we actually lost the country, we have lost, why would you need to bring Nigel Farage into politics? Just answer me that. Because it's quite clear that Starmer won with a low turnout but a big majority. So it doesn't matter what we think or how we behave or what we want. Quite clearly they're riding roughshod over our concerns. So they don't need to create someone for us to follow and believe in, because we've already lost everything. If I was in that position, I would make sure Nigel Farage stayed out of politics because he draws a crowd. I would make sure he was nowhere near politics. I'd make him a lifestyle so lucrative he couldn't turn it down, and he'd keep away. Maybe they've tried and he's refused it, who knows. But to consider him as controlled opposition it's illogical. It's just not rational, because they don't need him. You think if he hadn't come back, they wouldn't have won 5 seats in Reform. They wouldn't have got them. Lee Anderson would probably have got his seat. The rest wouldn't. You wouldn't have won your seats, no matter how big you think you are. You wouldn't have got in. So where would we be in that position in the last election? We'd have a disillusioned country with absolutely nobody to vote for. So people would turn out again in low numbers. But that doesn't matter, because the system's set up to choose a winner. So it doesn't matter if only 10,000 people in the country turned out to vote and 10,000 voted for Starmer and nobody else. He'd still win. They choose a winner. And they choose one or the other, Labour or Tories. So if you want to look at controlled opposition, Westminster's full of them. The Lib Dems, the SNP, the Tory party now. And if the Tories were any good at what they're doing, you know, they're putting some pretty good stuff out at the moment, Kemi and Jenrick. It's good stuff what they're saying. But if they meant it, why did they call an early election? Why didn't they hang on to that extra power time that they had to implement some of these ideas? Why did they start the Serco contracts? Why did they start putting them in hotels? Why did they bring net zero into law? Why did they start doing the electric vehicle manufacturing fines? Why did they do all this? Why did they do it? Because it's the uni party. That's your controlled opposition. Because you've nowhere to go. We're like hamsters on a wheel. And the only thing that's going to break it up is the remote possibility that Nigel Farage can win an election. Now, as far as talking about vaccines and harmful stuff like that, the last thing anybody needs to do to win an election is go to the ballot box talking about the harms of a vaccine that millions and millions and millions of people decided to take voluntarily, who now perhaps are having second thoughts. You don't rub everybody's nose at it saying they're rubbish, they were dangerous, you shouldn't have took it, because you just put people off. They'll never vote for you. Look what it got Andrew Bridgen. Did it keep him his seat? He did excellent work on that. I think he's wrong, completely wrong about Nigel Farage and about Zia Youssef. Completely wrong. But it was excellent on the vaccine. But did it keep him his seat? You would have thought that people would have thought, oh, what a courageous warrior, vote for him. No, they didn't. Because most people don't follow politics. Most people out there are just getting on with their life. And his constituency were riddled with Tory types, and they wanted to see a Tory MP get back in. They wanted to make sure their private pensions were safe. They voted for real life stuff. They weren't voting for things that we were uncovering at the time. So to think that he should even discuss this at this juncture is madness. I think Reform have proved where they stand, because they had seen Malhotra as a spokesperson for health matters at their conference. And I'm quite sure that since the lockdown period, David Bull will have changed his mind, and Nigel Farage has already said there needs to be an inquiry into the side effects and harms after you win, once you get in, because you can't do anything till you win. So what we've got to accept here as we look at each other now is that this country lost. This country lost its country because someone else who prefers to approach this country as a globalist running it and a king who's quite happy to lap it all up to keep the brand alive that's been going 1200 years. These aren't people who are interested in you having a warrior to vote for. Oh, let's create a warrior. Let's create Nigel Farage. They'll all vote for him. They'll think they're going to get somewhere, and they're not because he's controlled opposition. Have you heard yourselves how stupid that sounds? They might as well just leave us without a Nigel. And they might as well just leave us all dormant and pissed off and naffed off and disillusioned. Because disillusioned people don't fight. Disillusioned people give in and accept their fate. Nigel Farage, on the other hand, puts a fire in your belly and makes you want to fight. And makes you see that there is hope, there is a chance. And that's the way I see it.